ourselves. It seems to me keeping the baby food away from you was the right thing to do. Seems to me I would have been fucked telling you about the baby food. However, now you know about the baby food, and how do you feel knowing? Yes, I am very upset about the baby food. But if I had not hid the baby food... You don't know what I want. I want honesty above all else, she says. Okay, so you're upset. I get that. I wish I had told you all about it, and I want a baby with you. You do? Yes. Hold on. Air pushes through her mouth. She burps. I think I'd love to. Really? Not now, of course, but in the future, yes. Oh, that's wonderful. I'd like that too, I say. But oh, it's just a little scary. Babies are scary things. Not now, of course. Yay! Hooray! Perhaps we will make a blanket for the baby, she says. I will make a blanket for the baby. But you are currently making me a pillow. I am making you a pillow. And so you will make a pillow for the baby? Yes. Oh, okay. I can do both. You can do both. Yes, I'll just finish your pillow first. I am rather fond of the pillow. I am looking forward to putting it on my bed and then taking it off the bed at night or just couching it at my feet. There it will remain and then be kicked off in the night and then returned in the morning once again to its rightful place. We can read with the pillow. We can read, she says. We can hold the pillow. We can hold. All right, this one is titled The Kind of Like Running Motion Towards Something. The challenge of not having a mother in college was immense, but I didn't take her seriously when she suggested attaching herself to my back with one of those fetal strap things. I came back home after college, and I think my father enjoyed me being back. I had nowhere to go, which suited him nice because he liked having me around. I've heard parents should teach their children how to fend for themselves, but my father always had a very large greatsword in his study. You know what I'm going to do with it? He asked me. Slay your enemies. He'd swing it around a bit. In my bedroom, I tried to understand why my girlfriend broke my heart. I also wanted to know a little bit more of what I wanted to find. In my bedroom at home with my parents tinkering downstairs with Tupperware, I noticed a girl had liked an Instagram photo of mine. I then looked at a photo of her standing in front of a subway car with her tattoos and blue eyes showing. I wrote her saying, "Put me in a hanky and go achoo, and I remove your sickness." And she replied with, "Today I bought a cat and I didn't much care for it." She was very beautiful. I stared at my wall for a while longer, and then I thought, this is no way to live. That I was getting but hadn't gotten to the way to live yet. The way to live was with her, maybe, and we'd spend a good deal of the rest of our lives together. Sleep is spent most of our lives, but she'd come second. The kind of smiles that say to each other and to ourselves that this is what we came to live here for. We didn't come to live for sleep, but we came to live for us. And even though people say that's an ugly thing to do, we'd come to realize that ultimately it was true, and how silly it was what other people thought. And it's like what we would have was like after falling, the part of catching, of feeling the support, holding your body, and the looking up into her blue eyes, which would be smiling. In my bedroom, I looked at her photo again, and I thought, maybe her eyes are just the white sclera that make up all eyes, and her irises just happen to be blue because her mother's eyes were blue, and her pupils weren't looking at me, but at the camera, that maybe she's just science. Can we meet up, I asked? Yes. After our first date, I could not sleep. I called her phone, but she did not answer. The difference between loneliness and being alone has always been negligible to me. To distract myself, I went on my laptop. It was hard. It was hard, she said to me in the morning. What do you mean? It was hard not calling you last night, she said. I called you last night, I said. I didn't get your call. I said, that's weird. It was so weird, she said. Can I see you again? I mean, I want to see you again. I took her to a restaurant, and it seemed like her blue eyes tinted her hair blue. It was all very exciting, the date was. And that night I didn't feel devastated being away from her. The feeling was abdicated since I knew she missed me dearly. My mother probably, but more my potential girlfriend is what I meant. She missed me in a dire way that I reciprocated the next day with brief kisses and a soothing of her tattooed bicep. A few months passed and the overwhelming happy feeling of being around her tampered down. The days became every day and I enjoyed this. We ended up watching a lot of shows about girls putting on makeup and looking at their faces in mirrors while talking to their friends who had their faces in mirrors. And they talked about boyfriends, but other stuff too. Every night we looked forward to watching the shows, and during the day we'd text about it. It was pretty cool, the transition in our relationship. And yay, on the 5th month of basically good feeling, she said to me, "You said you'd tell me about the darker stuff about yourself." I told her what they were, of course. Being in such a trusting and loving relationship, I felt I could. "Is that all?" she asked. "Yes." "I think so," I said. "To be honest," she said, looking at her lap, "I think we should break up. I've been worrying about it constantly, even though I don't want it to come true. The stress reminds me of midterm exams."
Oh my God.
"You being too tired to study," I said. "The kind of responsibility that you don't want to look at," she said. "Being 20 years old in your dorm room and having the clouds start to come over your building, everything dreary. Running away from the next step," I said. "The next step being marriage and kids and domestic life, which," I said, "you told me you did not want in the past." And then I said I did want with you, please note, she said. "And now it's crunch time." "Now it's crunch time," she said, "and I barely studied. Knowing tomorrow must come but not wanting it to," I said. "You being unprepared, wanting to sleep in, miss the exam which would lead to an F, but you hoping somehow, emailing that you're sick perhaps, somehow there is a way out of the exam without failing, you hope. I realize there are expectations completely outside of study hard," she said. "There are expectations from friends to also excel at being a fun kind of girl, to have fun, the kind of fun with no rules at all. And you wake up and you do it," I said, "over and over again until it's no longer about the fun, but maintaining the appearance of the fun. And even though I know what happens," she said, "the pressure is too much. Some distance is necessary," I said. "Yes." "For how long?" "I don't know," she said. "Are you going to tell me when you know?" "Yes." "I'm not a monster," I said. "I would never hurt you." "I never said you were a monster," she said.
Woo!
All right, we got 2 more readers. Next up is G.G. Roland. He's been published by NY Tyrant, Hobart, and Philosophical Idiot. You can follow him on Twitter at Cowboy Roland. Here's G.G. Yeah, totally. Yeah, go for it. I got you. You can do the couch.
I can't stand for that long. Yeah, it's like 5 minutes. I can't do that.
Okay.
That'll do. God, I feel fancy. Thank you.
Here we go.
Hi. I have 7 poems. The first one's kind of long. This is called 10 Poems Found in Internet Comment Sections. Number 1. At the Kennedy Space Center, you can touch a piece of the moon the Apollo astronauts brought back. After years and years of touching, it feels like a piece of tile. Number 2. Whoever said she wasn't hot anymore was blind. I want her to ride me until the heartbreak goes away. Number 3. You know, if you think a girl is sexy, half the credit is due to her father, so you gay. Number 4. I looked at this because almost all the plants my mom gets die within less than a week. I think it is because she yells a lot, and sometimes I am scared of when she yells. Number 5. How do you deal with the fact that life sucks ass, but sometimes in the middle of the shit, a short appearance of great beauty happens, and then it continues sucking ass? Number 6. We're designed to be alone, caring too much about others who don't give a shit about us. Number 7. I want to be in love again. Haha, I've never been in love. Number 8. Flirtatiously grab the roll of Smarties from a girl's pocket. It's a tampon. Fuck. Number 9. This video was grim and my worst fear. Ending up lonely and middle-aged. Basically talking to yourself and picking fights with service employees, but grateful that it's live humans to talk to. Number 10. Saying the tiger is sad because it's in the zoo, I don't think is correct. It is a pretty nice life compared to the wild, where only 1 of 8 tigers have a chance of living to an adult. Here he does not go hungry and can play and sleep. Most tigers in the wild wish they could get that gig. This next poem is called Can Someone Pay Me to Say I Hate Money? What if an orange isn't actually an orange but a banana? A study came out 40 seconds ago. This orange is a banana. Fuck, a baby yells. The mother learns of healthy self-expression and boundary testing. A serial killer named Chip kills 100 million people by blowing cigarette smoke near crowds. This isn't that bad. Global warming and all, says a person wearing a t-shirt. Ha ha ha. Someone says life exists in places where humans can't exist. This poem is called Yo. I wear sunglasses or headphones, maybe both. I do not want to be where I am. I wear headphones and take one out to make sure I'm still breathing. Or maybe I'm breathing too much and should stop. Having music in both ears makes me feel a little insane. Behind sunglasses, my eyes could be anything. I challenge people walking around, sometimes get right in their way. You can't know where I'm looking, I tell them. Then I tap on my sunglasses with my thumbnails. Please, I'm going to be late, they sometimes reply. I smile and do a cartwheel with bent legs. This poem is called Civil Landscaping Without a Taxi. Debate difficulty, or approach something strenuous. Find a delicate direction. Hard defended is useful, apt to exist is somehow needed. One needs to be up when the moon wobbles and shines like the road, hammering glass nails into the lawn. This next poem is called Brushing My Teeth. I'm going to put my brain in the bathtub, or maybe the kitchen sink. Either way, I would like to scrub it with a yellow and green sponge. Watch me rinse my brain in the sink. Tell me to remember not to drop it down the garbage disposal. I feel like a robot is what I reply, because it's true after you ask what I am doing. This next poem is called Viagra is for Pussies. Tomorrow my penis gets upgraded for better sex, increased confidence, detachment. I underhand toss my upgraded penis. It softly thumps against her forehead. She says, "Wow, is that upgraded?" I say, "It is detachable." She tells me she wants to throw it. I'm sorry about the title. Please give me my penis back. This is my last poem. It's called Boiling Water. I would like to wake up in a bag, a plastic bag with no windows. This is my new home. The walls are orange and sealed. There is no door. I can finally take a breath. Newspapers could never find me or question me in here, next to a seasoning packet. No one knows I am in here, that I am dry noodles now, and that is okay.
Sitting or standing? Okay. For our final reader, we have, if I can get this to sort of come up. All right, there we go. We have Steven Dunn. He's the author of 2 novels from Tarpaulin Sky Press, Potted Meat and Water and Power. He was born and raised in West Virginia. Here's Steven.
I like the podium because I have these loose leaf papers, and secretly it makes me feel like a preacher. So I like the motherfucking podium. All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Cool. Thank y'all for staying and listening and all of that stuff. All right. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so I'm gonna read this piece called At Work. At work. Sarah said my sister's name, Shaquisha, was a made-up name. As if the name Sarah floated from a sky with a snowflake and her mom caught it on her tongue and it dripped pure onto the crown of Sarah's unnamed baby head. Hunter hung his season's greetings sign on the cubicle while straightening his Santa hat and asked if I was in the spirit. I said no, but that I was ready for Kwanzaa. He said Kwanzaa was a made-up holiday and offered me a candy cane. But over time, your people have gained equality, said Bill, when I told him I didn't celebrate Independence Day because my great-great-great-grandparents were certainly not watching fireworks on July 4th, 1776. But everyone loves summertime and cookouts and freedom, he said. It's so fun. Plus, there are all types of sales. How can you not love the 4th? Heather rolled her eyes to herself at Bill. In the break room, she told me privately that what Bill said was pretty messed up and insensitive, and that it is unfortunate that other white people continue to talk over people of color. It's just chatter, 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 she said. That's all it is, it's just chatter, which made me think of white noise. And how Heather won't say anything about it to other white people, so that is white silence. But whatever. I can leave work. I don't have to go to any of their all-white neighborhoods to their dinner parties where I'm the only non-white person, like the last few times I went. I'm also a writer, and I'll probably read this little piece aloud at some point.
Woo!
Which means I'll be reading it in a room full of white noise and white silence. And I'm not sure if this piece is adding to the noise or the silence. So I gave up on writing about my lived experiences and became a fantasy writer.
Nice.
I am currently shopping around my first fantasy novel, where white people who realize they too have made up names and holidays genuinely celebrate non-white people. And white authors write stories about racism, participating in racism, perpetuating it, benefiting from it, and so on. There is a publisher who is very interested in my fantasy novel. He says, the writing is great, but it's too serious and a tad too didactic and not very fantasy-like. I try to argue that this shit is serious for a lot of us. And besides, there's nothing more fantasy than that. He says, I know what you mean, I really do. But what I mean is fantasy for the people who will be buying this book. So, I changed the setting from a progressive metropolitan area to a vague British-like countryside with castles and fog and shit. And I changed white people to elves.
Oh my God.
My fantasy novel is now selling well, and I get a lot of fan mail from white people who are just shocked and disgusted by those elves' behavior.
Damn those elves.
I'm now on book tour for my fantasy novel. All the cities have started to blur. All the bookstores feel the same. All of the interested white faces in the audience and the occasional black and Asian face. Before I start my reading, I make eye contact with the only black dude in the audience. Somewhere. I don't know. He gives me the nod, the right on, do your thing, my nigga nod. And I return the nod, the you goddamn straight, I'm gonna do my shit up here nod. I start with the same shit everyone else starts with. Hello, thank you for coming out tonight. And I'd like to thank Page's Bookstore for having me. It's such an honor to read here. You all do so much for artists in this city. I know this is bullshit, but it sounds good, so I turn it up a notch. It is truly an honor to read at this incredibly amazing venue. Now I will be reading from my novel, The Elves of Estelarta.
Fuck yeah.
Chapter 1. As a troll, I travel every day from my foggy marsh to the crystalline elven province of Estelarta. Upon entering the glowing gates atop the lush verdant knoll, I take a left past my old leathersmith shop and continue to my new employment amid the scribe enclave. There aren't many trolls in the enclave. However, elves abound, flitting to and fro, fulfilling their scriberly duties. Not many elves here have interacted with very many trolls, although we don't live very far from them. On occasion, some elves like to touch my troll hair and ask about our foreign customs. Some elves think I was only appointed in my position because of a law called confirmatory process. Meldiriel, one of my elven workmates, asked me about my recent leave, and I mentioned that my sister, Garlaqua, and I journeyed to the shores of Malkna and frolicked against the flora. Meldiriel said my sister's name, Garlaqua, was an invented name, as if the name Meldiriel sprouted from a glistleberry tree and her mother squeezed the juices onto Meldiriel's head. I glance up at the black dude in the audience. I know he feel me, my nigga. I keep reading, blase blah, whoop-de-whoop, Shakespeare reference, hyperbolic adverbs, whatever, until I'm done. Thank you all for listening. I'll be signing books right here at this table. I signed a few books. Some white people tell me they're shocked and disgusted as usual. Fantastic work, and that I have an ear for musicality and language, and that I'm what happens if Toni Morrison and Tolkien had a baby.
That's hot.
The black dude is walking up, and I rush a white dude out the way because I know I'm about to have a deep convo with the homie. He gets to the table, and I start to give him some dap, but he just looks me up and down and says, "What's up, brother?" "Thank you for coming," I say. "Don't thank me," he says. "I only came to see your sellout ass read this bullshit." I look at him like, "Man, don't confront me like this in front of these white folks." But he keeps on. "You used to be about something, but now you writing about elves and shit, trying to make white folks happy." The white guy I rushed off steps back in and says, "Excuse me, sir, could you please have a little respect for the author?" The black dude says, "No, he should have a little respect for himself, old sellout ass nigga, old tap dancing for the man ass nigga, oh, I love my massa ass nigga." I say, "Look, bruh, I'm just having fun. It ain't that serious." He says, "This shit is serious for a lot of us." "Come on, man." I say, "You know how it is." "No, nigga," he says, "I don't know how shit is." "Do you though? And sign some more books. Have a blessed day, ye old sellout." Thank you.
Woo! Heck yeah.
That was awesome. All right, thank you everybody for coming, and we have a credit card. Well, I'm sorry, I'm like crashing from
If everybody could just check their wallets really quick and see if they
See if you have Bethany Moore's credit card, because we had a credit card.
It's a debit card, actually.
Debit card.
So an extra freaking out.
And what's the color?
Red.
Red.
Color?
Yeah.
Red Bank of America.
Red Bank.
So you got a Red Bank of America, and there's books and drinks and all that good stuff, but please look, see if you have the card. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This was great. Thank you.
Bananas.